to their credit, I will.
To their credit, it was bitchin'.
Exactly. I am just about to say that it's like a nice within their own movie, topping their own stunts.
Yeah.
You know, saying, "Oh, you like that grenade one? Tell you,
You
what."
thought that was some shit?
Yeah.
Let's
you know
show you
what?
some
Here's
shit.
we're gonna pay off this kid thing. Don't worry about these kids. Remember that grenade bit here? Baboosh! Ah, pretty lovely explosions and fire and actual no CGI pyrotechnics. Just beautiful.
So the bad guys have holed themselves up inside like an office building.
Yes.
Which they run into and shoot wildly at nothing.
Oh man.
For about 3 or 4 minutes.
It's one of the most beautiful scenes. I mean, it's like
while a bloodbath is taking place on the streets outside.
Yeah.
But the office building and the interior shots is eerily quiet.
Strange. This is peculiar.
When there is a literal war zone happening 30 yards from them.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
But yes, they are kicking in doors, shooting up entire walls, entire office. Yeah, it's...
See, that's why I mean, it's such a great scene
nuts.
because it's literally just, we need to show rampant terrorism. We need to show how crazy these guys are so you get the idea of how dangerous they are. So we're going to have them walk through empty rooms and just shoot guns off wherever, anything, doesn't matter.
Like absolute madmen.
Yeah, exactly. So there's you have no targets, just keep shooting. It doesn't matter. Just, make it look pretty, boys. That's all it is, They're just out there and I mean, it's literally dozens of guys who are like bunched together as they move through these rooms. It's not like, pretty clear, like they... No.
They're kicking indoors and shooting up a room without paying attention to what is in them whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God,
they're not checking behind desks.
There's no tactics.
They just spray bullets at waist level and move on.
I will say that it's another example, though, in the progression of movies in terms of how they predict violence because, later on you really start seeing tactics and the necessity of using, different squads and things like that and covering each other simply because audiences were like, you got 40 guys with guns just stumbling over each other.
Yeah.
They got tired of seeing that
those guys
sort of
in
thing.
the back would have shot the other fucking 60 dudes in front of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were like literally holding their guns up over their heads just so that they could get the flare on camera.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that's one thing that we both just kind of marveled at, though, is in the climax of this film, it is a full-on war zone.
Yeah.
And in 1986, that's not CGI. That is happening.
They literally closed down blocks on city streets, like, intersections, not just one or two straight lines, straight blocks, like an open airfield or something like that. No, those were city blocks, and they had barricades and tanks and helicopters and all sorts of shit going off in there.
Yeah. Like the part where the tank just rams a van for no good reason except for, hey man,
looks so
it was
damn
rad.
Cool. It looks so cool. It just shredded that van, And the beauty is, they did it for real. There's no computer graphics. There's no question about,
So Chuck Norris pops into this office building with his twin Mac-10s.
Somehow magically appears again on the scene, able to get through all of the barricades, no problem, right where he needs to be.
Man, he just rampages through these guys. They are just bullet fodder for Chuck Norris and his dual Mac-10s, which is one of the funniest images I've ever seen. It's him firing wildly with a completely blank expression.
Yeah,
It's
and
fantastic.
He's literally just waving these things. Like, it's not even like a Wingardium Leviosa. He's just like, wah! Yeah! Guns going off.
Just going fucking bananas.
Just emptying whatever's in the magazine. Down it goes. It looks great on camera. And all of the stunt guys are falling the way they should. So, who cares?
But my God, he's got to put his babies down because them MAC-10s are out of bullets.
Well, yeah, and, we know he's lethal with his hands. He's got his black gloves on, which are his work gloves.
Yes.
So that becomes the question is...
That's his commie whooping gloves.
Yeah, so is that how Rostov is going to get it? A nice, good, old-fashioned American beatdown?
Because I very incorrectly predicted, I was like, oh, he doesn't need guns to take Rostov the fuck out.
Because he's got these guns right here, baby. But then he
just grabs an errant M16 that happens to have a
grenade launcher
with grenades in it.
Yeah.
And wanders through one door, sees nothing, while never moving his eyes around the room once.
And allow me to praise your observation that the gun, even though it is a single-fire grenade launcher, he had multiple grenades available with that weapon to use when the time came, because this is glorious Hollywood. And somehow, not only was the gun magically there, but all of the ammunition he would need for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because he gets into the first room, nothing there. So he approaches the second door, and he's got a bad feeling about that door, Brad.
Dun, dun.
He's got a bad feeling about it. And meanwhile, behind... 2 of those dirty commie bastards just waiting for him to burst through that door.
Yeah, 2 commies who we recognize from before, so we know they're bad guys. These guys are definitely bad guys.
So instead of continuing to hide behind the wall, they get out in front of the door.
Yeah, they're ready to shoot at Chuck through the door. They know he's on the other side, so they're not even going to open the door.
And then somehow... through what must
Chuck
be
magic,
literal divine intervention, he somehow shoots 2 grenades into each side of the door.
Yeah. This is the beauty. Not only is it a single shot grenade that somehow is able to, it's like the single round that fired out split perfectly to hit evenly on either side of the door, to have a perfect, identical, symmetrical blast pattern.
Yes.
So you had the door and then 2 open spaces, just the same size of the door. You couldn't have planned a better thing unless you were a special effects expert.
Man, and it's wonderful because the way that he fires it, there is no conceivable way.
Yeah.
Because he just swings it in a very broad, sweeping motion.
Well, after he shoots it, after he does that double shot, he basically just throws it down and keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he just gets rid of his fucking weapon.
It's like, well, wait a minute, man. That was a magical two for one shot.
Oh, but he's got that fucking knife in his back because one of the dudes isn't dead.
Right.
And gets up to shoot at him, and without looking... He fucking
backward throws.
Jason Williams from the goddamn Sacramento Kings just whips this knife into his chest, and it's amazing.
Yeah, because the guy is on the ground, on the floor. So, he was face down on the floor, so he actually has to lean up his chest to make it open and available target for Chuck to hit this knife in his heart.
Like a fucking missile.
Yeah, yeah, like a missile fired by
a goddamn rocket, like a rocket of justice.
Oh, God, Chuck Norris. Yes, a dagger of justice to this terrorist criminal's heart who was laying on the floor, who had the gall to point a gun at Chuck again. So he goes down.
He
Boom.
finds Rostov, and they engage in a fight.
Oh, now they face off, right? Where Rostov is like, kind of looks, and he's like, oh, shit. And brings up his hands like, okay, we're going to do an actual physical one-on-one. Okay, here we go.
Yep, and Chuck stands with his arms at his sides.
Says nothing. Face never changes expression.
Nope. And just whoops the shit out of it.
Front kick. Not only does he kick the guy.
He kicks him like 6 times. He kicks him over cubicles.
Furniture. Kicks him over desks. Through cubicle walls.
Man.
Rostov has no freaking chance.